Shalom. Shalom to everyone. Shalom, Howard. Shalom to everyone. Or we give it 2 more minutes. Thank the Almighty. This will be a faster service because I got to do the news today. Definitely thank the Almighty for Zooms yesterday. Got over a feast day. Sister Gia's first time. We let her take the lead. Show us how to keep our feasts and find our days according to the sun and the moon. Like he said, he gave us the sun and the moon and the stars to keep for times, for seasons, for days, and for years. So praise the Almighty for that. Thank the Almighty that I talked to an old friend of mine, man. Felt good. We were tight. That's like my boy. That's like my boy. Like it's going to be weird. More one, we link back up. Got two heavy hitters. If that brother comes to the Almighty, we got two heavy hitters at Trade United. We're gonna be unstoppable. So definitely thank the Almighty for the visitors too on the Zooms. We do Zooms for all you people Sabbath night. If you guys want to jump on some of the times, do Zooms, fellowship, open, wherever the scriptures lead, biblical questions and stuff like that. Thank the Almighty for that. Even right now it says, I find whatever I state I am to be there with content and being humble. I'm not in a position where I like to be, to where you're making 0 to no progress in certain areas. But I definitely thank the Almighty. I know that there's brothers and sisters out there that's in a more dire situation. And I know that time is not a factor with the Most High. And we think that things are immediate, like a kid really wanting this toy. And you're like, I'll get you a toy in a little bit or in a few when I have time. And say it may take it 2 weeks or 3 weeks. For them, they want it now. It's the end of the world, or they want to go now. They want to go to the park now. They want to, and we understand. We got time. Don't worry. They keep asking. Sometimes we're like that because we're like, oh, Almighty, I don't like this situation. I don't like this financial situation, or this situation with marriage, this situation with kids, whatever, right? Whatever you're going through, sickness, whatever. And time is not a factor with the Most High. Even dealing with investments. How much time we got? Because I do gotta go quick. When we have our meetings for the congregation, because I want all the congregation to be financially stable, but some people want immediate gratification. And they don't understand that things come with time. And when you invest it, it'll be in the long game. Now, Israel or Joseph, I'll say Joseph, when he got sent in prison, we got sold as a slave, and then he rose up. Then he got false accused for adultery or attempted adultery. Then he went into prison. It doesn't say how long he was in the prison. And then he interpreted a dream, but then they found out that he could interpret dreams 2 years after. So after the time he interpreted a dream, he was still in prison for 2 years before Pharaoh called him out. So let's just say best case scenario, 2.5 years, which probably was more than that. But let's just say best case scenario. Now he got sold as a slave for I don't know how many years. Then he got put in prison for I don't know how many years. And then out of nowhere, time is not a factor, he became like the equivalent of a vice president. Straight from prison. Second in command of all of Egypt. Now, would you say, man, was that worth it? Some people may say no. Some people may say yes. But he was able to have children, have a wife, have children, see his grandchildren, see his great-grandchildren. He was able to have a good life. And sometimes we think this immediate struggle, this is just 1 year. You can say, well, I'm 60 years old, I'm 50 years old, whatnot. But time's not a factor because remember, it could be 1 year, but what happens when the Almighty extends your life for another 5 years? What happens when you make it to 80 years old and you die in full strength, and other people at 65, I see people in their 50s walking all. I see people in their 50s struggling, And if they make it to 80 full of pain in the morning when it gets cold, but the Almighty granted you your last 30 years, you're still good. You're still able to ride a bike. You don't have suffer from dementia. You're in your right mind when you give up your last breath. And so sometimes we think, oh, well, I got to get this done. I want to get this done. Time's not a factor with the Most High. It's not a factor. And two, he's not our genie. Yes, he hears us and he says, man, I'll always to pray and faint not, and keep knocking on the door, keep bringing it in prayer. If you have a need, keep bringing it to the Most High. Let him know. If you got to fast on it, fast on it. Keep seeking the Most High on these things. Just really, these are the times that build the character. You see a person's character when they lose. You see this person's character when they have to apologize. We're going to deal with that in a little bit, but you really see a person's character when they go through the storm, you know? Say if the game is over and you know you're going to lose and there's only so much time on the clock, are you going to go out there and go just give half-heartedly? Or are you still going to give it your all? Are you still going to go hard as you can? You know, and that's where we are more than conquerors. There's nothing that could come my way if I'm on the Almighty side that I can't overcome, even unto death, because we've received a better resurrection. So, that's about time I gotta get busy. Welcome. 3 minutes past. Welcome to True Hebrews United, Almighty Yeshua. Real love, holiness, destructive, discipleship, just like I'm about to get into the book as usual. Definitely give all honor to the creator of heaven and earth and all that is in therein. The author and finisher of our faith knows the beginning to the end. The one that gives us roof over our head, food in our stomach, clothes on our back. It says he gives us the ability to establish wealth. The one that given us, for some of us, our children to see another week. Our moms, our parents, whatever. Some people, some brothers and sisters too as well. They didn't, their child or their mom or their dad didn't make it to this week. You know, they didn't make it to this week. They didn't make it to the Sabbath, to the end of the week. You know, they went out to work and never came home. They went to sleep and never woke up. That the Almighty lent us and leased us our children that we could hug and talk to another day. So definitely give all glory to the Almighty through his Son, Yeshua, HaMashiach, only begotten of the Father. Give all glory to the Father through the Son. You shall not know the Father except but through the Son. He is the door. Double honor to the apostles, the prophets, the evangelists, the teachers, the elders, the bishops, the deacons across the whole planet. Not no pope and not no reverend, not no first lady, not know any of this stuff. Not know the rabbi and chief and captain like some of these camps do. None of that stuff. Just the ones notated in the scriptures. Titles notated in the scriptures. Double honor to them. Preaching the word, getting people to repent, come to this gospel for his everlasting too late. Definitely. All the brothers and sisters keeping the Almighty's commandments, statutes, judgments, precepts, and ways. Appreciate you guys. I want you guys to make it into the kingdom. I want you guys to be saved to the uttermost. Keep standing and keep being the light of the world and the salt of the earth in the trenches trying to get people to come to this gospel. All the people on the Facebook and YouTube love you guys unto salvation. Please find a congregation. You cannot save yourself. You cannot baptize yourself. You cannot, I don't think you need a congregation. There's no scriptures that support that. Definitely in the New Testament. There's no way you're going to get around that one. There's no scriptures that support that. You need to find where the Almighty wants to plant you. They set up elders in every city. They laid hands. The word pastor, apostle, prophets, evangelists, teachers, elders, bishops, deacons. Those are in the New Testament. What are those titles for? Why did he create those titles if you do not need a congregation? Let's use our brain, critical thinking here. Don't let your own emotions and self-will lead you to destruction. Please find a congregation. I am Teacher Simon. I am not the only one. I am one of many and one of few. There's few people really standing on the wall, being the light of the world, holding the gospel out there, but there's many of me. Please find a congregation of people that will love you unto salvation. Vet them. Ask them biblical questions. Cross-reference what they teach. See the opposing view of people and see if it holds any weight. Go there and see if there's love. Do you feel that they have general care and concern from you? You know? So go out there and find where the Almighty wants to plant you. Fast on it. Pray on it. Look for red flags. Just like you vet a wife or you vet a husband, you're trying to see if they're just trying to use me for sex or use me for my money or use me because they're in a bad situation or use me because they got 2-3 kids out of wedlock and they need a life raft because they're drowning in debt or they're struggling and they need some man to come and help them out, right? Whatever. Or do they generally care? Just like you do that for these churches out there. Do that for these congregations out there. Push on them. You know what I'm saying? So, with all that said and being done, let's let the fingers do the walking and the scriptures do the talking. Go ahead and give me James chapter 4. James chapter 4, we're going to start at verse 5. James chapter 4, verse 5. Do you think that the scripture saith in vain that the Spirit dwelleth in us, lest to envieth? But he giveth more grace, wherefore he says, the Almighty resisteth the proud, but giveth grace to the humble. So we're going to deal with pride, but more so with humility today. Submit yourselves, therefore, to the Almighty. Resist the devil and he will flee from you, just like he did when he resisted them in the mountain and he fled for a season. Draw nigh unto the Almighty and he will draw nigh unto you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners, and purify your hearts, you double-minded. A lot of people, I was dealing with this today where it says, this one guy made a post and says, it seems like it's easier to take a sinner and bring them to truth, a sister, and date them, than to try to date a sister that's already in truth. Why is that? And a whole bunch of men was agreeing on that, and I'm not in the dating market, so I never try to date. But one thing I know is that some of these people that put Israel and whatnot, these sisters, they're double-minded. They're partial in judgment. They're partial in judgment. Same thing with these men. Sex is marriage and all that. Just because they wear some fringes and say Hebrew and say shalom and stuff, leave these people alone. If they don't have a congregation, then you don't even know what they believe. If they have a congregation, you can go to the website, you can see, you can call their pastor and say, hey, what do they believe? What do you got to believe? You'll be surprised at these people that wear fringes, that believe you can smoke and drink. You can believe, oh, you don't have to keep the Sabbath because we're not in our land. You don't got to keep the feast days. They still believe you can still listen to rap. They still cussing. But they're in truth, right? So that's why they don't have a congregation, they ain't safe. Let's keep going. Be afflicted and mourn and weep. Let your laughter be turned into mourning and your joy into heaviness. Humble yourselves in the sight of the Almighty. He shall lift you up. Humble yourselves and he shall lift you up. So let's go to Luke chapter 18. See, not in all cases, because I'm not going to deal with all types of pride. Maybe I could teach on that one day. But most of the time, pride and humility go against each other, like the flesh and the spirit. Now, there is some things that you should be proud of, like if you're proud of your son, they got good grades, or you're proud of the work you do, you're a craftsman and you do clean work and you do good paint job or whatever you do. Take pride in your work. That's not the kind of pride he's talking about. He resisted, because it says, whatever you do with your hands, do it with all your might. Take pride in your work. Don't do hack work. Don't do sloppy work. Don't cut corners. If people's paying you for a service, give them the best that their money is paying for. You know, have you ever paid for someone and they did a hack job and they take no pride in their work? So that's not the pride he's talking against. You know what I'm saying? He's talking about the pride we're going to get into in a little bit. Luke chapter 18, verse 9. Let's go. And he spake a parable, spake this parable, unto a certain which trusted in themselves, and they were righteous and despised others. 2 men went into the temple to pray, the one a Pharisee, because they had the perfect manner of the law, and the other a publican. Now a publican was a tax collector. So the thing is he was what you would call a house ninja. You know what I'm saying? He was had Stockholm syndrome. So Rome came and he used Hebrews to tax the people, all the businesses, all the people. So the Hebrews didn't really like these Hebrews because they worked for the Roman Empire. They taxed them. And why the publicans were so rich is because even though you only need to pay $50 this month, they were charging you $100. And if you didn't pay, you get arrested because they were backed by the Roman Empire, right? So they were robbing their own people. We're already oppressed by the Roman Empire, and then here you come robbing your own people, and they were wealthy. They were wealthy, but they were sinners, right? Extortion. Well, let's keep going. All right. So, and stood in the other publican, verse 11, and the Pharisee stood and prayed thus with himself, with himself, God, I thank thee that I'm not as other men, extortioners, unjust, adulterers, or even as this publican. I fast twice a week, I give tithes of all that I possess. And the public standing afar off, and would not lift so much of his eyes towards heaven, but smote the breast upon his breast and said, Almighty, be merciful unto me, a sinner. And I tell you that this man went down to his house justified rather than the other. For everyone that exalts himself shall be abased, and he that humbles himself shall be exalted. Because if the Almighty looks long enough, he's going to find sin in everyone. It's like if a cop rolls behind you long enough, he'll find something that you did wrong. You didn't use your turning light signal. You didn't do this, whatever, right? You crossed the yellow line a little bit early, whatever, right? Let's keep going. You didn't come complete stop, right? So the Pharisee, within his own pride, he didn't leave justified. And he was living more righteous than the sinner. But the sinner had humility. The sinner had humility. And he says, Almighty, forgive me, I'm a sinner. And he says, the Almighty, it didn't say he was saved, but he said he went to his house more justified. So, let's get another scripture. Give me Matthew chapter 19. Matthew 19, verse 16. Let's get it. And behold, one came unto him and said unto him, Good master, what thing shall I do that I may have eternal life? And he said, Why callest thou me good? Thou know there is no good but one, that is God. But if thou wilt enter into life, keep the commandments. Does it keep the commandments, right? And he said unto him, Which? And Yeshua said, Thou shalt do no murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness, honor thy mother and father, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. And the young man said unto himself, All these things have I kept from youth, what lack I? I would have just left like that. All right, cool, I'm already keeping it. But he asked that question. And Yeshua said unto him, If thou wilt be perfect, go and sell all that thou hast, give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. But when the young man heard these saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. He can't imagine himself humbling himself. He was a rich man, humbling himself to a regular middle class or poor person. It will be so humbling. It will be so humbling. I seen this video about these people called the Island Boys. These boys, they made some song and went viral, and they thought that people liked the song, but it was really like a mockery. But whatever, right? So they made a whole bunch of money on YouTube, and people were trying to give them advice about investing the money, and if your music doesn't pop off and whatnot. And the next video I seen recently, because I heard about it like a couple years ago, 3-4 years ago, of how one of them's homeless. One of them's homeless, and they're both broke. They're like middle class, lower middle class. They're both broke. And I remember watching a video like 3 years ago where he's like, see, this diamond is $100K, and he just threw it in the toilet and flushed it. And it could have been a fake diamond, but let's just take his word for it. It's $100K, and his big flex is, yeah, I got it. I got it. And they were slowly going broke. But this is the persona, because you're being fake and you don't want to humble yourself and say, hey, this is where exactly I'm at. Because you had to keep this persona, you went broke trying to impress people as if you got it, when you don't. Just humble yourself and say, hey, I mismatched, or did this or this, I could have did this better, I learned a lesson, and people respect that. But this man, in like manner, he has been accustomed to this status of life. He refused to humble himself and live at this status. I've seen women that do spicy content. The reason why they go broke is because they want to spend $4,000 a month on some high-rise condominium. Why don't you just live within your means? But that's too humbling for them. To live within your means, or to save money, that means you have to live below your means. To save money, you have to live below your means to save and gain wealth, right? But most people don't want to humble themselves to do that. And thus they crash and burn, trying to keep up with the Joneses and keep up with consumerism and wants everything to be shiny. Have to have the shiniest car, the shiniest phone, the shiniest apartment, always chasing something shiny and always chasing the image to impress people that don't even care. We spend more time trying to impress people that will never come to your funeral. You're busy. These people, if you died at your job right now, they won't come to your funeral. So why are you trying to impress them? They're not going to mourn your death. They're like, what? So-and-so died? Man, that's crazy. Hey, so what are we doing tomorrow? What are we going to eat today? That's probably what it'd be. It'd probably, oh, so where do you think you're going? Oh, you're going to go here for lunch? I'll go with you. That's it. Like, oh, that sucks. My condolence. Oh, yeah, this weekend I'm going to, just like that. But you're too busy trying to oppress these people that will never come to your funeral. Just think about that. These people don't care about you. And you see, man, but anyways, let's keep going. Go ahead and give me Matthew 26. Matthew 26. Verse 1. And it came to pass that Yeshua had finished all these sayings. He said unto his disciple, you know that after 2 days the feast of Passover, and the Son of Man is to be destroyed and crucified. Then assembled together the chief priests and the scribes and elders unto the palace of the high priest, who was called Cephas, and consulted that they might take Yeshua by subtlety and kill him. And they said, not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar among the people. Now when Yeshua was in Bethany, the house of Simon the leper, there came unto him a woman having an alabaster box, very precious, and poured it on his head, and sat at meat. But when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much, and given to the poor. But Yeshua understand that he said unto them, why trouble you the woman? For she hath wrought a good work upon me. For ye have the poor always with you, but me you have not always. For in that she hath poured the ointment upon my body, she did it for my burial. For verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman have done, be told for a memorial. So every year, because she humbles herself, every minister on the planet, every year needs to teach of her. Because she humbled herself. That means any minister on this planet, every year, needs to teach of her as a memorial, because she humbled herself. And then when another person, another time, when the Pharisees seen it, this is, if he would have known who she was, because she was a harlot, that sinner, she wouldn't let her touch, because she was kissing his feet. And Peter said, hey, when I came to your house, you didn't wash my feet. You didn't kiss my feet. You didn't do this. But this woman can't stop kissing my feet and drying it with her hair. You know what I'm saying? And he let these souls, to whom much is forgiven, much loveth much. And she humbled herself. And once again, I got to teach of this woman, this poor woman, every single year as a memorial, because her humility. He raised her up. Does it say I need to teach about Elijah every year? Does it say I need to teach about Jonah every year in the well? Does it say I need to teach about Moses every year? I mean, obviously you're going to get into the law, so it's going to be talking about Moses. It doesn't say I need to teach about Adam and Eve, even Enoch. But every time I need to teach on her, how she humbled herself, right? So, let's keep going. Give me Matthew. We did 26. Give me Mark 12. Verse 38. Mark 12, verse 38. We're going to get into some of the examples, then I got to get into some news. So we almost done, like 2 more scriptures. Mark 12. We're looking pretty good. Mark 12, verse 38. Let's get it. And he said unto them in this doctrine, beware of scribes, which love the long clothing and love the salutations in the marketplace. And beware these people on YouTube that love to wear the fringes and always taking all this and have this. And sometimes they come in a group. Most of the time they're by themselves. Because if they're in a group and they're in a congregation, I'm not hating on it. But, you know, they love to get this attention. Like, oh, they're living righteous and they're a Hebrew and they're in truth and this and this. He's talking about these people on Facebook too. And the chief seats in the synagogues and the uppermost rooms of the feast, which devour widows' houses, and for pretense make long prayers, and shall receive the greater condemnation. These same people be like, oh, sex is marriage. Oh, you could smoke weed because it says every herb, even though they say put smoke in your lungs. And I don't know why they justify putting smoke in your lungs, because when your body coughs, it's telling you that it wants this smoke out of my lungs. Whatever you just put in my, whatever you just did, I am coughing to get what you put in my lungs out of my lungs. That is the purpose of the cough. No one coughs off of air. They wake up in the morning. And man, this fresh air. No one does that because your body's meant for air. Your body's not meant to put smoke in your lungs. But yet they still justify it for some reason to their own destruction. I don't even waste my time. When they come with dumb stuff like try to justify weed, okay, go ahead. Okay, like the Bible says, he that is unrighteous, you stay unrighteous still. In Revelation, he that is unclean, you just stay unclean. So it will be such a waste of my time to try to get you that's already set in your ways to get you to repent because you're already justifying doing something that is outside of the Bible. Just does not make sense to put smoke in your lungs. Did you know when your house burns down, what kills you first? Do you think it's the flame? No, you die for carbon monoxide poisoning. You pass out prior to you burning up because all that smoke you're breathing in. Your body's not meant to inhale smoke. And for some reason, let these people in truth go ahead. Go ahead, smoke all you want. Do what you do. I'm not even going to waste my time. Let's keep going. Verse 11, verse 41. And Yeshua sat over the treasure seat and beheld how the people cast in money in the treasury. And many that were rich cast in much, as they should. And for those people that says tithes and offering wasn't money, it was just fruits and vegetables. But all throughout the Bible, tithes and offering was money as well. But we'll get into that later on. Because they rebuilt the temple several times through a chest that people put their tithes and offering in. And that's how you did it. You didn't build masons and carpenters and metal workers and blacksmith with just food. No, it didn't work that way. They needed money to pay for the rebuilding of the temple. But let's keep going. And there came certain poor woman, and she threw in 2 mites, which maketh a farthing. And he called him unto the disciples, this is verse 43, and said unto them, Verily I say unto you that this poor widow has cast in more than all that they which have cast in the treasury, for all they did cast in of their abundance. But she that of her want did cast in all that she had, even all her living. And this is what I don't like about the people that fight tithes and offering, because I'm a big advocate of tithes and offering, even though I don't preach of tithes and offering much. I should, but I just don't really push it that hard. We don't really have a problem in that congregation, and our congregation don't require that much resources, but banners and cards and Bibles. We don't require that much money anyways, but they're hypocrites because they won't follow her example of putting all her living in. They won't follow the other examples in the book of Acts where they sold lands and possessions. You won't sell your extra car to take care of your brother. So if you want to fight tithes, why won't you do what the apostles see? In the book of Acts, they went above and beyond tithes and offering. They sold extra lands and possessions to take care of their fellow brothers and sisters. You fight tithes, but you'll never sell that extra house you have to take care of your brothers and sisters. You'll never sell that extra car you have. You'll never do a yard sale and sell things in your garage so you can take care of your brothers and sisters. So you're a hypocrite. Because if you want to fight tithes, then why won't you do like the other believers did and go beyond tithes? Why won't you fight tithes and say tithes is wrong? Man, you should be doing more than that. We should follow the early believers. They'll never do that. They just want to pay zero. So every time I ask them, I said, okay, then how's the congregation going to lease this building and pay for electricity and chairs and tables? And then they can't, oh, well, you just got to do an offering. What's the point? If you do tithes and offering, Dumbo, that means every single member in the congregation gives the exact same amount. 10% of your $500 a week, 10% of your $5,000 a week. Everyone makes the same exact sacrifice for the edifying of the body of Amashiach. So that's the fairest way is tithes and offering, Dumbo. Instead of, hey, rent's due, guys. Rent's due. The Almighty, we got to take a coma. Oh, you got to do it, jumping through all these hoops to buy some Bibles for people. The people that fight tithes are probably the same people that smoke weed. Just let them do what they do. I don't even play around. They're non-participating. It'll be the same people that say, I don't need a congregation, that fight tithes and offering. But my main point is she humbled herself, and the Almighty observed that and seen that she even she was so humble. She just wanted to, what was in her heart? She just wanted to give everything she got to the Most High, even all her life. Do you think the Almighty let her go homeless and let her go without seeing that You don't think the Almighty bless her? You don't think, because all the people gave out of their abundance, which rightfully should, right? But not all her living. It takes a humble person to do that. But let's keep going. So let's get the shout-outs real quick. Did she do the shout-outs? Oh, she did the shout-outs. Praise the Almighty. Vince, Katura, Sierra, Gimme Mac, Gino A. Wright, Sierra Ya, Yeshurala, Gazura G, Zaman, Benito, Nito, Kamari, Ariel, Nava, Kashev, Zahara, Vincent, Josh, and Izzy. I appreciate you guys. I want you guys to make it into the kingdom. So, and all you people that fight tides, I challenge you to contact anyone at True Hebrews United and ask them, has there ever been a time where the congregation needed that any member needed help and we did not help them? We have 100% success rate of taking care of our congregation. Now, maybe you may need help and need $4,000 and we're not rich and say, hey, we got like 200. Maybe that can help out a little bit. We can't fully help everyone. You know, we're not rich people, right? But we have 100% success rate. There has not been one time at our congregation where brothers and sisters needed help and we weren't there to help them. We just said, like other these false churches, oh, we'll pray for you and don't help. We have 100% success rate for all you people. But can you say you non-time pirate congregation or you not? Can you say that? Do you have 100% success rate? Can every single member say, yeah, there's a time and I was struggling with this and whatnot and they came through? And there's times where I didn't even have to ask and they just volunteered and came through. Can you say that, oh, the only time they came through is when I have to ask, but they seen I was struggling for 2 months and they didn't even do anything. I had to be at the point of death and ask them and then they came through. They just watched me. No, you can't say that. Most congregations can't say that because we got love here. But carry on. So let's get, now that this shout outs, we're going to get some, dealing with some lack of humility and pride. Just like the flesh wars against the spirit, the same thing with pride and humility. One thing, let's see if you guys got some pride issues or you got some lack of humility. We'll just say lack of humility. Not wanting to apologize. Not wanting to apologize. You men are guilty of this. You women are more guilty of this. You men, if your wife is right or your girl is right, say you're dating or whatnot, hopefully not fornicating, but our spouse or something, apologize. Be man enough to apologize. When you're wrong and you can apologize, you actually gain more respect than someone that does not want to apologize. Because from now on, I'm not going to take you serious. And you put yourself in a position to where you will never be forgiven. I have 2 sisters that did me grimy. I don't talk to them because they never apologize. And because you never apologize, we can't move on. Because you are saying, you've wronged me. And not only you wrong me, you are doubling down and feel that you're justified in how you wrong me. And since you feel that you're justified in wronging me, we can no longer have a relationship because you feel you did nothing wrong. And why would I want a relationship with someone that defrauds me and feels that they can wipe their mouth and say, I didn't sin against you. I didn't defraud you. I didn't wrong with you. I didn't do nothing wrong to you. Like, imagine someone cheated on you and didn't want to apologize and thought nothing wrong. And like, why are we separated? What? I mean, it's just one time. You're making a big deal. You're insecure because I cheated on you. Stop being so insecure. And they double down. You can't do that. So you actually lose respect for the people that don't want to apologize when they know they're wrong. I'm talking about sometimes you may not see that you're wrong. Sometimes it's just when you point out some stuff and I don't see it yet, and maybe I'll see it later, maybe I never see it. But I'm saying the stuff that I know, then I'll apologize for, right? You should be able to apologize. If you have a hard time apologizing, then you have a lack of humility. There's some areas you need to work on. For some of you guys serving the Almighty baptized, I'm not saying you're not saved, but that's some character building. There's some character flaws you got to work on and start coming up higher. Deflecting accountability. That's a big one, especially on the job site. The first thing they do is they try to find someone else to point the finger. Oh, well, you know, I'm just new, or all this, or all that. Or when sometimes they'll cheat, it's because you're never home. It's because you're never there for me. They deflect or they gaslight or whatnot. That's a lack of humility. That ain't necessarily pride. Some people just always have to be the victim. Oh, man, they laid me off, dude. It's racism. Or it could be you is late all the time, dude. Or it could be that you didn't perform. You did the bare minimum or less than the bare minimum. Or it could be because you took too many days off. Man, I don't know, they tripped and they laid me off. You're not taking accountability. Why don't you tell the truth? And it's because you always take days off and you always show up late. Tell the truth. How often do you get that? It's always the job is tripping. Sometimes it is, right? So failure to take accountability, that's lack of humility. You have a lack of humility. Let's keep going. Girl code, especially on Facebook. They would defend other girls just for the fact that they're girls. And they say, if you're saying you're in truth, then that means you're saying I'm going to use righteous judgment circumspectly. In all areas and in all topics, I will use righteous judgment. I made a post a long time ago, and this is when I seen these people's true colors, these supposedly sisters' true colors. I said, women that have kids out of wedlock, women that I said women that are wife material have a wife mindset do not have kids out of wedlock. That is not wife material, right? So a whole bunch of women start fighting me, which, hey, you could disagree. I don't take offense if you disagree with what I say. You know, I'm not the end all be all, right? It's in us having differences in the scriptures or how to make money or how to invest or how to raise kids. This is how we all grow. So all this and that, and I was like, you know, my main point is if you become a wife to start a family, you don't start a family before you become a wife. You had a kid by this man, so you started a family with this man, and then it broke. Then you have a kid by this man, so you started another family, and it didn't work. Now you have 2 kids. You started a family 2 times and failed. And you're not married. You didn't require, how are you wifey material if you're starting a family without requiring marriage? That is opposite of what you should be requiring marriage before you start a family. The benefit of a man having a wife is now I could start a family. But you're starting families with a man that's not your husband. And so they fought me, which, let's say you could fight me. But when I see that they're disingenuous, the girl code, and they're disingenuous and have a lack of humility, I said, fine. Let's say if my definition is wrong. Tell me what disqualifies a woman from being wifey material. Because you guys will naturally say, this is a real man. And if you don't do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, you're not a real man. And so then that means everyone else is not a real man or you're a real man. Not a real man or a real man, right? And women will naturally say, a real man does this and a real man does that. And if you're not doing this, you're not a real man. So, okay, well, tell me, since my definition is wrong, what disqualifies a woman from being wifey material? And out of the 30 girls that were fighting me, because it went on for like 3 or 4 days, not one person gave me what disqualifies a woman. And that's that lack of humility, because you know in your heart not all women are wifey material, just like you know that not all men are real men. But you won't answer that. That's that you can't humble yourself and say, okay, if women do this and this and this, she's not wifey material. Your girl code will pretty much send you to the lake of fire. Because you're dishonest, you're disingenuous, you're not honest with yourself, and you're not honest with your fellow sisters. You're not going to promote your sisters to come up higher by not telling them the truth. You're not going to lie and deceive them onto salvation. Why won't you just be honest? If you do these things, if you're out at a Denny's parking lot and you're twerking, you're not wifey material. Women with class and ladylike women don't be twerking in public. That's something from your husband. Why won't you just say that? Why won't you just be honest with yourself and with others? Because you don't want to humble yourself and realize like, hey, maybe I'm not wifey material. Maybe I need to repent from some things and become a wife. And so the girl code, hey, if you stick to that girl code, you have a lack of humility. Let's keep going. Irrational people. Have you ever tried to sit down and talk to someone and they want to just lecture? They want to quick to cut you off. They don't want to hear your part. Or when you say this doesn't make any sense and they're irrational. Irrational people, they cannot even be humble because it's all about them. There's no way they're going to be humble. You use logic Imagine these people, when you clearly show them Christmas is false. You show them in the web, Google, you show them in not a dictionary, but a encyclopedia, the origin of it. You show them in the Bible. But they can't humble themselves and give up that. They will like, well, I don't see why God would send it in this. And this, at this point on this topic, they're irrational. Because there's no amount of logic or proof or facts or historical data or statistics you could give them to where they'll realize, like, what you're saying is true and I need to make changes. They're irrational at this point. They will not humble themselves and say, in this condition, I am unsaved. There's no, in their mind, they're like, there's no way me celebrating Christmas will send me to the lake of fire. There's no way. And you give them all the proof. There's undeniable proof that this is wrong. It's paganism. It's idolatry. And they'll still celebrate it. They're irrational. They won't, they refuse to humble themselves and seek truth. Refuse it. They won't do it. Let's keep going. Like I said, people that cut you off, people that want to lecture and whatnot, it's a lack of humility, because it takes a humble person to let someone finish. Even if you know that what they're saying is wrong, or even if you disagree with them, to show a level of respect to let them finish their key points. And that takes a level of humility. Some people always feel I'm justified, so I'm allowed to cut you off. I'm allowed to overtalk you. I'm allowed to be petty, or I'm allowed to be passive aggressive and whatnot. Lack of humility. Lack of humility. Let's keep going. It takes a while, but it took me a while to learn to stop cutting people off. And sometimes I mess up, maybe with Sister Whitney. Sometimes I mess up a lot, but I have to work on it. And it takes time, especially with people on the job, because they be saying some dumb stuff. So I want to cut them off quick. I want to nip it in the butt. But whatever, right? So, not asking for help. Here's another one that's not aggressive. Not asking for help. If you know you need help, hey, brother, hey, sister, can I spare? You got $20 or you got this? Don't let that pride be your downfall. There's some times where we found out late that a member was in need of some help, could use some assistance. It's like, why didn't you tell us? We would have been there for our brothers and sisters. Like, come on now. Hey, there's times where I run across times. There's times where Brother Vince had to hook me up with gas money, fill up my tank. There's times when the union was slow, construction was super slow, right? And there's times where I ate good. And when I ate good, I hook up my brothers. Hey, when I eat, we all eat. You know what I'm saying? When I'm doing good, I make sure I take care of my brothers and sisters at the congregation, right? But not asking for help, not admitting that you're down, not admitting, like sometimes you're like, you know, those people that know they're broke, and you're like, hey man, let's go eat here. And you're like, why don't you say, oh man, I don't even got it right now. I'm good. I'm gonna just eat here, or I'm just gonna do this. You know what I'm saying? Man, I'm not really hungry. You know what I'm saying? And they'll just like, why are you? Just be honest. Humble yourself. Hey man, I don't got it right now. My pocket's HP is low right now. You know what I'm saying? I got to let the HP get back up, right? You know what I'm saying? So just when you're down, like me, I make decent money, but I got a car. It's a little oxidized. It's a little Chevy Tahoe. But I'm not trying to break the bank for a $600 a month car payment. I'm not trying to impress people on the job that won't care if I die. That won't lose any sleep if I die. Won't even mourn my death. Don't reach out to my wife. I don't care what they think. They're stuck with that $1,200 car payment, trying to impress people with their big truck, or they're trying to impress people with this house. It only takes one economic collapse, like 2008, and how many people lost their houses in 2008? So you're trying to press and do this, and look at this house, and this much square feet, and this, and look at my car, and this, and yeah, this. And they do all this to try to seem so big. Just be honest, man. Stay within your means. Credit card debt is on an all-time high. Why? How does that tie to lack of humility? Exactly. Because one, you want instant gratification, which has nothing to do with humility. But two, some of you guys are caught in consumerism. And that's what gets you with the lack of humility. Let me make sure I'm on time because I got to do the news. That's what will get you with the lack of humility, because you want the newest phone and you want the shiniest car. And some of you guys want it not because oh man, I got this car because it's a quality car, or I got this purse because Gucci is known for quality. right? Like all these name brands, it's known for quality. Some of these name brands you pay, Supreme and all this stuff, Louis Vuitton, they're made in factories in China for like pennies on the dollar. And you're paying $2,000 to have this image. And you will go broke trying to impress people that will not show up to your funeral. How does that make sense? Because you don't want to humble yourself and say, yeah, this is my car. It's a Toyota Camry. It's a 2010 Toyota Camry. So I'm just going to go in debt so I could show up at the job with a 2024 to act like I have more money than what I really get, or just humble yourself down and live below your means and stack up. Because a lot of people on the job have shinier cars than me, but I know what I have in the rears and I know what they have in the rears, and it's night and day. If you look up the majority of millionaires, did you know they drive regular Toyotas? Look it up. Google it. What does the majority of millionaires drive? Basic cars. They don't try to flex like these rappers or these OnlyFans or these people trying to get clout on YouTube. Those are the real broke people. The people that got generational wealth, they drive standard regular cars. Maybe they get a custom car here or a custom Ferrari in their garage. Yeah, they enjoy certain things, but they're not rolling around trying to impress all these people. They already know they got it, so they don't have to impress. I know what I got, right? So let's keep going. Not being yourself, like I said, the false image. And that's a borderline deceptive. Because you have a lack of humility, you're being deceptive. Quit having an image like your marriage is better than what it is. That ties into, if you need help and need counseling, get the counseling. Humble yourself and get the counseling. If you need financial counseling, get the counseling. If you're behind and your credit score sucks, go seek some counseling. How do I fix my credit? Be yourself. Hey, this is where I'm at right now. This is what I got right now. This is what I do right now. Like I tell people all the time, I thank the Almighty that I'm not cut. Like this is my phone. It's a J8. You know how old this phone is? It's like a 2018 phone. I had the J3, which is 2017. Look, you know your phone's old when you can buy new batteries for $12. I don't care about the newest. I'm not trying to impress these people on the job. I'm not trying to impress my mom, my dad. You do what you do. I know what I have in the rears, and I know what I'm working towards. And I know when you finally see what I got, then I got it, and I don't have to fake it to get it. You know I got it. So, humble yourself before the Most High. 1 Samuel 16, then we'll get into the news. We're on time. 1 Samuel 16. Now, within measure, it says, the gift of God is to enjoy the fruit of your labor. So I'm not saying it's wrong to have nice things, but I'm saying we should always live below our means. If you're barely struggling to pay that car payment or that mortgage or that, then maybe that's not the situation you should be in. Because if you're just 1 or 2 or 3 paychecks away from losing that car, or 3 paychecks away from losing your house and going into foreclosure, then maybe you're living above your means. Maybe you're living like right at your means too, where if you got that car, but if that car just has 1 broken transmission, then you can't make that payment because that transmission is going to take $2,000. If you know good and well you can't afford a large repair on that vehicle, then maybe that's not the vehicle you should be buying on the lot. Live below your means. Be where you're at. If people see where, just be real. Humble yourself. It's okay. It's okay to be broke. Everyone starts off at broke, but work towards greater. Make progress every year. It takes time. Like they say, Rome wasn't built in a day. It takes time to increase in wealth. So, 1 Samuel 16. I don't think I'll ever buy a brand new car off the lot. Maybe for misses I will, but for myself, the car I want isn't brand new anyways. So, Samuel 16, verse 6 and 7. And it came to pass, this is when Samuel went to go make David king. And it came to pass that when they were come, he looked on Elabeb and said, surely the Lord anointed is before him. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth, he looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. So if you notice that poor woman, you notice that other woman that cleaned his feet with tears and used the alabaster box, they were poor people. But he judged them according to the heart. He judged them according to humility. And I'm not saying to be humble, you got to be poor, because the publican was a rich person, but he was humble. The publican's a rich person because he stole money from the people, but he was humble, right? So I'm not saying you can't be rich and live righteous, because the rich man that he went away was sorrowful. He just didn't want to say, oh yeah, but he was keeping the commandments. He was living righteous. He just didn't want to go all the way with the Most High, which condemned him, right? So what I am saying is the Almighty judges the heart. So if we humble ourselves in all aspects of our life, and we're trying to impress the Almighty and not oppress people that do not care about you, I do want to make my fellow brothers and sisters proud. And I do want to care about their opinions. And I do want to be an example to my brothers and sisters. But my brothers and sisters care about me. I want my son to oppress me because he knows I generally care about my sons and care about my daughters. But I'm talking about we spend more time, not the saints of the Most High, spend more time in our life oppressing people that do not care about you. And the main person that cares about you is the Almighty. So let's humble ourselves and let him raise him. Because in the end, like we do with our investments and stuff, you're going to see True Hebrews United is going to get exalted. Because we watch and pray and we put our things in certain places. I don't deal too much on finances. And you'll see us, the Almighty exalt us. You'll see it. And you're like, I didn't have to try to impress no one. I didn't try to act. And I'm probably still going to have my same phone. I'll probably just buy a newer one, but it'll still be a J8 or a J3, right? So let the Almighty exalt him and let him exalt us in due season, right? Stay humble. So let's deal with some news. We'll give the Almighty hand clap on that part, and let's get into some news real quick. Let's do it. All right. Controlled resistance. What is controlled resistance? I should have looked up the definition. Maybe I'll look up the definition real quick. I'll go fast. Controlled resistance. All right. Oh, it won't. It's bringing me up some voltage. Never mind. So anyways, it's where the government is doing something wrong. And they know that there's going to be resistance, so they set up a puppet resistance, and they'll control him to get people to do something that they're going to pass legislation or whatnot and crush anyways. So we want them to resist, but we don't want them to randomly uncontrollable resist. We'll set up this person and do this. So I'm going to use an example. Let's use Alex Jones, or we'll deal with Elon Musk in a little bit. Alex Jones, when I first started watching Alex Jones like 10 years ago, I don't believe he was controlled by the government. Do I believe he's controlled by the government? Yeah, yes, because I've seen videos where they did peaceful protesting and he was making it. He was in the protest causing trauma, like COINTELPRO, right? So they pushed being a prepper, and rightfully so. But they already knew they're gonna resist us, our rule over them. Let's push them being preppers. But we already have legislation in the back to where you're not zoned to be a farmer. Oh, you're restricted to this much water. If you have this, then you're considered a farmer and you're not zoned. So if you can only have I think it was like 10 cows or something, anything over that, then you're out of order. Oh, we'll make it illegal to collect rainwater. So I already know you're going to resist, but let's raise up this puppet person. And Alex Jones, he's against the government and this and that. And then he gets them and suggests, this is what we need to do to resist. But they already have a solution to that. And it's called controlled resistance. So the whole trans vehicle, we'll say that, the whole I could choose my gender, whatever, right? So now Elon Musk, with the whole microchip, they're trying to do in 20 and 30, by 2030 or in 10 years, I'd say WF in 10 years, they want people that really they take out a certain of your skull, they'll put in the chip, and then it ties into your brain, and then you could keep up with AI. Now everyone, Elon, he's so great, and he's beyond his time, and this and that and that. He is controlled. I told you, the majority of his money from SpaceX, the Boring Company, from Tesla. It's from the whole carbon neutral, and it's from government subsidies. Alex Jones, they sued him for $1 billion, and Elon Musk, they sued him. Every person that they want you think that's against the government, they're going to sue. And dealing with Trump, we're going to get with him in a little bit. They're going to sue. And look, the government sued him. He must be for the people. Elon Musk is going to be the first one pushing this chip in your head, or this chip in your hand. Elon Musk is the first one to push this New World Order agenda. He's freedom of speech on Twitter. It depends what subject. People still get their stuff taken off on Twitter when you preach truth on Twitter. It's just not as much as what it used to be, but you believe, he's about freedom and this and this. Most of his money comes from government contracts. He works for a government. SpaceX, Tesla. Tesla was going to collapse a couple of times, and the government came in and gave them stimulus and grants because they're trying to push carbon neutral and electric cars and stuff like that, right? This whole global warming. So they made sure Tesla does not fail. He is controlled resistance, and people are just blindly following this guy. They're really pushing this microchip in your brain, kind of like the Bible says, a mark. Let's keep going. And you think they're selling your data now, buying your card and your phone? Oh, wait until they have a microchip in your brain. Let's keep going. They'll probably really be controlling you. So they showed where they can make microchips in certain insects and make it fly where they want and control it like a remote control car. So you don't think there's evil, wicked people going to do with that? Well, let's keep going. So he's pushing the whole transhumanism to fight against, so you can keep it with AI. They want the universal basic income because they want to just pay people because AI is going to take all their jobs. So you just pay, use our central bank digital currency. We have control of what you eat, where you go, what you do. They're going to try to do this in cities. So be careful with that. Same thing with Trump. Everyone pushes Trump. Even a lot of Hebrew people push Trump. Now remember, Trump is like the main supporter of Israel. So he supports the synagogue of Satan. Think about that. Oh, well, this, and he's going to come and save the country, and Trump this, and Trump this. They be treating him like straight the savior. Remember, he's supporting the synagogue of Satan. Don't believe in that. Next one. I showed a video on our thing about Utica Correctional Facility. You can check it out. This guy at the correctional facility, they already had him in handcuffs. They beat him and he ended up dying. He went to the hospital at the correctional office place. He ended up dying 7 hours later. And this shows you Jacob's trouble is going to be bad. It says in the time when we get closer to the end, it's going to be worse for Hebrews. Call it Jacob's trouble. It's going to get worse for us because he's coming for his people. And the wicked one's going to make his last effort, like he's always done, to kill off the Hebrews. Just like in Egypt, just like during the time of Abraham, just like he's going to make his attempt. Just like the wicked one tried to kill Mashiach and not realizing that was part of his plan. And now the gospel went out to the whole world, right? There's my chance to kill the prophecy. And they did. They crucified him, hung him on a tree, right? And then what happened? Went according to the Almighty's plan. So, be ready for that. The 10 most, and I need to start dealing with some health things. So, let's deal with some health things real quick. Why's my phone acting up? Alright. Bear with me, I had this website. It's not loading up for some reason. What? I don't know what's up with my phone. Anyways, I had these 10 most banned foods. It dealt with milk. There's something they put with milk, UBTHT. Anyways, I'll bring it up next time. For some reason, it's not loading up. I don't know why, but I wanted to bring these 10 foods up that we need to start staying away from because I didn't even know what was in it. But with all that said being done, let us stay humble, keep standing, don't drop standards, give the Almighty a hand clap. Shalom. Lesson about a king, Nebuchadnezzar's second dream. The thing is humility and pride. Yep, that's true. What she said about funny working. Your phone's acting up because it's cheap. My phone is not cheap. Or it should probably work right now. Oh, it still didn't work. Alright, whatever. So, alright, shalom guys.